Welcome to today's Global Connections program. I'm Bill Miller. What is the Peacemaker Corps Association? What is the Peacemaker Corps doing to help youth around the world to learn more about educational programs dealing with tolerance and peace? My guest today is Carole Krechman. Carole Krechman is the co-founder and CEO of CV Studios Entertainment. Carole Krechman is also the chairman, founder, and president of the Peacemaker Corps Association. Let's start off with the Peacemaker Corps. What exactly is it? When was it formed? Why was it formed? What do you do?
Peacemaker Corps Association is an NGO here at the United Nations and currently with ECOSOC status. I've been a volunteer running NGOs since 1988 here at the UN, so kind of my 26th anniversary this year. And the Peacemaker Corps was part of the Friends of the United Nations, which I ran during the 50th anniversary. And when that was over and Kofi Annan became Secretary General here, his first speech, or one of his early speeches to the General Assembly, he talked about a decade of peace and tolerance. And we do know that the culture of peace doctrine was voted and adopted by the General Assembly earlier in the 90s. And that is, all member states voted for it. And the culture of peace doctrine really talks about creating a peace culture in this world. So when I heard him speak at the GA that day, I said to the board of the Friends of the United Nations, we really should take our leader's word, and that's what we should focus on under my administration. And that was in the mid-90s. So by the end of that decade, we had created a few things. First, we had created a way to celebrate folks who are doing work in the tolerance space, like Maurice Deeds of the Southern Poverty Law Center, Waxman of ADL, Alana Morissette, who sings about peace. And so we created an award called the UN Tolerance Award. And it's been given since the mid-90s. Even Gorbachev received it. But for me, it wasn't good enough to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to reach the youth and give them a voice. Nobody thinks about it, but in the world that we live in, which is now 35 million refugees that are because of the wars that are happening, the youth, women and children, are the first victims and the biggest victims of violence.
I know you deal with a lot of young people. Well, you deal with a lot of people, but young people in many areas of the world. What overall has been the reaction? Do you find that so often we hear that youth really don't care about the issues of the day. They don't care about poverty, don't care about climate change.
I do believe that youth is interested. I also believe that they think that we're not interested in them, that there's like this disconnect. The media needs to look at new ways to reach young people. We have social media, we have websites, we have mobile, we have all kinds of ways now to reach millions and millions and millions of people in an instant. And I do believe that this need to communicate, which we see with young people through video, through Twitters, with all the, is sort of inherent in your soul. So to talk about how to make this world a more peaceful place, I think they're very interested. I think they're concerned about climate change. I think they're concerned about the future. But I think in a lot of they just don't think that there isn't anything they can do. You know, they're like they kind of feel like powerless because you turn on the television, you see somebody our age talking to them. Well, that's not going to get it. It's got to be them talking to them.
Let's talk a little bit about how you outreach. How do you reach the youth of the world to focus on really important issues such as peace, conflict resolution, bullying? This is a topic that's really coming into vogue. We didn't hear much about it maybe 5, 10 years ago. We're hearing a lot more about it today. But how do you reach out to them? Do you do workshops? You have special events, I know, things like that. But are there 1 or 2 examples of how you reach out and get their opinions and get them brought in to access your educational materials?
Well, the first thing we did was we created a curriculum, and we were honored and very excited that President Clinton, under his Welfare to Work program, funded what he thought the Peacemaker Corps could be his Peace Corps. And so the workshops were created with academics and folks who worked in that community. And they were run during the early part of this century across our country and in many places in the world. And there are day-and-a-half workshops, and we partnered with the mall owners around the world so that the youth came to the malls and out of their own neighborhoods. And we dealt with sort of a interactive, fun therapy session where we spent a day-and-a-half in intensive conversation, listening. Listening is important. Most kids don't know how to listen. So we did all those little funny things, that telephone game when you whisper in one ear and then it turns out to be something totally different when you get all said and done. And then the graduation ceremonies for these kids were held in the center court of the malls where the local television, local media covered. So all of a sudden they had a voice. And watching these young people gain their voice was amazing.